Checking out the sun at 304 angstroms. We see no sunspots, a weak active region rising north of the equator. And sunspot 2732 still kicking up some activity there as it sets. In 193 angstroms, we see a small coronal hole on the south in the Earth-facing region. And otherwise, not a lot of stuff going on. Take a quick look at the active region there in 94 angstroms. Not expected to become a sunspot. And there are the magnetic field lines at 171 angstroms. Checking out the real-time solar wind. Nothing too wild going on with the BTBZ. No sun-to-earth connection on the Phi angle. A small uptick in the solar wind density to 8.38 cubic protons per cubic centimeter. And the wind speed has now dropped down to 460 kilometers per second. Head to spaceweathernews.com to get a little additional data here. X-ray flux is back to a flat line. Magnetometer's looking pretty smooth there. Awaiting any magnetic connection on that small coronal hole, if any, will even be detectable. KP index is at 2. Cygnet's forecast. You can see that small coronal mass ejection right there, which we saw yesterday on the LASCO, and we'll look at it again today. Electron flux levels are kind of high, but in a smooth range. No real charging hazards. And the F2 ionosphere layer is looking very discharged. And this area down here is looking pretty anomalous. Less of a charge disparity here than we've seen previously. Keep an eye on that as it can change practically instantly. There are your aurora forecasts. They're looking pretty weak. Here's globalincidentmap.com. Their quake monitor. Going back 12 hours, we got a 2.4 in Wyoming. You don't see that every day. Five hours ago, a 4.1 in Afghanistan at depth. Afghanistan stays on alert for a mid-level 4. Not a lot going on, no major quakes. It's an earthquake downtick, folks. Here's your volcanoes today, thanks to Volcano Discovery. We will leave links, by the way. And it looks like the star so far is Manam. We've got Shivaluch producing a 26,000-foot ash plume. Manam producing a 50,000-foot ash plume. And that's located in Papua New Guinea, by the way. Krakatau, 20,000-foot ash plume, so that's relaxing a little bit still, as it was yesterday. Also Ducona, 7,000-foot ash plume. Apparently the volcano warning was lowered to yellow in the Aleutians. Popocatépetl, little uptick there with a 21,000-foot ash plume. Fuego in Guatemala, 16,000-foot ash plume. Turrialba, still under warning. Reventador, 16,000-foot plume. Sabancaya, 29,000-foot plume. Planchon Peteroa, 15,000-foot plume. And Stromboli continues to erupt strongly. Next, let's look at the Gong 2 to see what the solar fields are going to do. Not that you can really predict them. Let's say so we can see what the solar fields are doing. And there's that info for you. Now next, let's visit the LASCO C2 and the C3. You can see yesterday's coronal mass ejection that we covered. There it goes. Quite clearly not Earth facing. And here's the C3. You'll be able to see a lot more of that. It looks like it took quite a lot of the corona with it that time. Next, we'll look at global geospace perturbations. By the way, we did look at cosmic ray monitors also, and there's nothing really noteworthy going on at any of the monitors. We're still getting this bulge down here into the South Indian Ocean, as we've been seeing recently, as well as a bit of reaching down here between Alaska and Hawaii. Let that play through once more, as there's quite a lot of info on it. This data complements of University of Michigan. Next, we've got an image of Harburg-Haro objects. I think I mispronounced that. Harburg-Haro objects. And what these are when clouds of ionized gas are hit by very fast-moving ionized gas. And yeah, it looks like lightning going on in there, because the primary interaction here is electromagnetic, of course. Super interesting image by the Hubble. We'll leave a link to this article at cosmosmagazine.com. Next, let's look at the Triangulum Galaxy. The Hubble has recently released the second largest image it ever has, which required 54 images being stitched together. The Triangulum Galaxy is about 6/10 the size of the Milky Way, part of the local group. We'll leave links to that article also. Have yourself a nice close-up of the Triangulum Galaxy. And here's a little look at their zoom-in. It's quite a zoom-in, by the way. Triangulum Galaxy is an active galactic nuclei, and it is oriented in a face-on direction. Next, let's look at a clickbaity article on phys.org with a very attractive title: Climate Model Uncertainties Ripe to be Squeezed, by the University of Exeter. You look at this photo and you ask yourself, what's it going to be? Is it going to be solar forcing? And I quote, "Although the impact of recent climate change is now clear, the human impact, that is, future climate change depends on how much additional greenhouse gas is emitted by humanity and how sensitive the Earth system is to those emissions. Reducing uncertainty in the sensitivity of the climate to carbon dioxide emissions is necessary to work out how much needs to be done to reduce the risk of dangerous climate change and to meet international climate targets." Well, there goes that idea. They're studying the same old stuff. Carbon dioxide. Whoopsies. We'll leave links to the article so you can have yourself a laugh. Here's AccuWeather's U.S. Doppler radar map. Those of you interested in what's going on precipitation-wise in the U.S., there you go. Don't say we never gave you nothing. And here's the NASA GOES water vapor map. This is the GOES 16, a satellite that we're a little concerned about here because we see these interference lines going right across the middle of it. Hopefully their charge couple device didn't get damaged. Still providing enough resolution here to show you a clear image of what's going on in the water vapor, which is this high pressure dry air zone is pretty much what's in control. That's what's causing this convergence zone here, and it's what's pushing this moisture out into the North Atlantic. Also, it is creating a low behind it, and so these storms out here in California, Washington, and Oregon will all be expected to start moving to the east throughout the day today. And let's have a look at the 211 angstroms view. Not one we always look at, but let's look anyway. Thank you for going away, annoying pause symbol. All right. And there's your 211 angstroms view. Now remember, when you're observing and reporting on a lull in solar activity, don't drink. And if you observe and report on a lull in solar activity, don't drive. Also, don't drink and drive. And if I see you on the road, I'll wish you weren't driving. Cheers.